We going or? Okay, sorry. All right, so start of this next match here, Team Dynasty taking on Boston Red Legion. I'm Matty Marshall. I got Chris Lasoya up here with me, and this should be a really interesting matchup, Chris.
Absolutely. I watched the first game both these teams played. The Russians came out kind of flat this morning. You know, I think they're having some pain problems. You know, I think everything got squared away. They're not a team to sit back and kind of take a loss lightly. So.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. That was their first loss in 12 games.
Yeah, you know, and I think, you know, do you think that them not being able to play the field 25 million times before the tournament had something to do with it?
Maybe a little bit.
I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, I know that it helped them out a lot. They have the money and the resources to go out and play the field 10 times, 15 times. You know, but Dynasty has Oliver Lang. I'm kind of looking to see how this is going to pan out for those guys, too.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting season for Dynasty as they picked up Alex Goldman, they picked up Oliver Lang, they got Mike Mesa, they got Dalton. I mean, it's a revamped Dynasty, re-energized Dynasty squad. They're real excited about the year. Now, the Russian side of things, as we look at the Russians, have very dominant field position right now. Into this 50 snake, got Britnikov in there, look good cross field. The Russians, again, coming off an amazing year last year, where they were just really handling people, especially towards the end of the year when they really normally pick things up. And it's going to be interesting to see how they play this year. And they lost their first match to the Ironmen, so they should come out hot this game.
Absolutely.
Dynasty 7-0'd the rookies to the league, Chattanooga. So
yeah, and Chattanooga gave their first game against Impact. They gave a pretty decent game, actually.
Yeah, they did. It was a really good game.
So, but you know, the Russians are always a top level team. You know, they go back, they reassess what happened in their first game, and they'll definitely come out. And as the tournament progresses, they will get better and better.
Russians now past the 50-yard line. See Malloy tries to get a shot. Look, Glenn Takamoto stuck in that back center bunker. You know,
the Dynasty on this field, having all three backs like this is actually a relatively safe, well, so to speak, safe spot, because it's a hard X to break.
It is. It really is. And I think that as the teams kind of progress, as we see Glenn Takamoto, I was going to say, when players get shot out of their bunkers like we're watching happen right now, that's when that cross can get broken. But there is kind of a gap here. There's not like a lot you can do, so you have to almost shoot the guys out of their bunkers before you can make those moves, or double someone up, put somebody in and go. So nice job by the Russians to get on the board. Score is going to be
it's 1-0 right now, I think, with the Russians with the clean hang. But I'm thinking what's going on in the back of the field there is I think that he got shot in the barrel. I didn't see a flag go in the air.
Yeah, but there's a penalty. Look, I didn't see a flag either.
I didn't see a flag either. But you know, usually they're pretty good about throwing flags in the air. You know, I'm assuming just by looking at what happened is he got shot in the barrel, or he might have clipped him in the pack when he first got up to their Snake 4 and possibly called a 2-minute penalty on it, or a minor penalty.
Yeah, so the minor penalty on Dynasty will come off the board. The score is 1-0 in favor of the Russians. And yeah, this is going to be Dynasty's new revamped team test right here. And the Russians, they did come out flat that first match. And I do think, obviously, that the fact that they haven't been able to master the field before they get to the event, because that's one of the things with the Russians. It's really hard to compete with them on a support side of things. They have a ton of coaches. They have they're very well funded, and their guys are pro paintball players. They have an indoor training facility. They play all the time, and they really have every advantage when it comes to it on that side of the coin. However, with the changes this year, they didn't release the layout until about a week ago, and so the teams had to rush to try to be able to practice this field. Also, fields are slightly long. The field's slightly longer now. It's 20 feet longer, which is going to you're going to have less kills off the break, which is another thing the Russians are really good at.
Yep. It does make a difference too, because when I practiced on Thursday when I got here, it takes some getting used to shooting those longer shots. Makes a big difference. And you think you're getting there, but you're not. And you just kind of got to shoot a little higher than you think you're supposed to, and kind of adapt to the situation.
Which is weird though, because your muscle memory gets so used to things being a certain way for so long, then now that slight difference is really big.
Absolutely. Conservative breakout by Dynasty.
Yeah, Dynasty tripling up that back center and then immediately bumping out. They lose their corner Looks like Alex Frazee trying to get out the snake side, and here comes Justin Rabikoff up to the 50-yard line for the Russians. Oh, nice crossfield shot by Justin Rabikoff. Able to get a shot on the 30-yard line. Dorito on the Dorito side of the field.
You know, we had talked about how Dynasty's revamped, you know, and regardless of, you know, all the superstar players that you might have, you know, you look at teams like Infamous in the past, Avalanche, you know, and name, you know, insert name here. You know, regardless of how many people you have on your team that are named players, it always is going to take a little bit of time. Excessive is a perfect example. Yeah. It took you guys had a lot of named players yourself, you know, a great stellar team on paper, but it takes a little bit of time for you guys to gel. And then once you guys gelled, you guys were starting to smoke people. Yeah, it's very true. And you know, you can say that coming from, I mean, almost every team you've ever played on has been a superstar team, you know, quote unquote, with all those named players. And, you know, so yeah, and I've been on a fair share of those teams too. And it is interesting because when you do have that many cooks, it does take a while to kind of find that common vibe and get on the same page, because there is a lot of interaction on that level as far as, you know, okay, well, everyone wants their opinion heard. Then, you know, then the coach, now you got coaches that come into the swing of things too, and things are always kind of consistently, slightly changing in the sport. So it will be interesting to see, you know, and then Oliver coming back on. You know, you got really big personalities on that team. Yeah. Alex Frazee, Ryan Greenspan, and Oliver, they're best of friends, and they have been since they were kids, but they all have really intense personalities. So it's going to be interesting to see as the year evolves how all those guys remix back together. Absolutely. You know, some of the, you know, they're got to put their egos in check a little bit sometimes. You know, like you had said, there's a lot of big personalities. Oliver's coming off the Ironman where he ran that team. He was, you know, the king on that team. And to go to another team that already had kings, you know, like you said, it's gonna take them, I think, a little bit to kind of get their stuff, you know, kind of gelled out and see who's gonna do what and who has what role, you know. Yeah, and as far as like game plans come down, and that's the thing, it's so evolving quickly. As we got about 30 seconds for starting this next point, is that game plans right now, because they didn't really get a really good look at the field, now the game plans are evolving so fast. As the tournament's progressing, it's going to be interesting to see. And also, in this particular game so far, they're having a hard time living in their bunkers. The Russians have starting to get their shots down, at least so far. Let's see if Dynasty needs to get a point on the board here before we get to that 3-point swing. Score 2-0. Yep. All right, on the breakout, 5 guns up for Dynasty. And the Russians able to get 5 guys alive as well, get a player up the center of the field. You know, the Russians are doing good bunker-to-bunker moves this game. You know, they're shooting their guns, they're dipping out, they're making their good secondary moves, living behind their guns and playing smart paintball right now. Yeah, they definitely are playing smart paintball. Here comes Alex Goldman getting in this snake. He had a really good first game for Dynasty, and he's getting backed up by Alex Frazee. That's a pretty potent combo over there on the snake side. Oh, as Alex Frazee catches one in the face, though, trying to battle Malloy over here for the Russians. Loses that battle. Yeah, they're going to definitely push hard down the Doritos side right here. I mean, there's an opening over there. Both these Russian players are on our side of the field with the snake side. Ryan Greenspan filling out back corner bunker on the snake side. Alex Goldman in the snake, looking for his shots. You see that's Alex Goldman on your screen right now. You're checking out. And you see Ryan Greenspan cut on the inside. Here comes Dynasty streaking up the Dorito side of the field. Oh, the Russians lose Pantelev over here. Oh, and Malloy. So here comes Dynasty getting on the board to make this a 1-point game. Now those A's are tough to play. You know, you get a false sense of security sitting behind those mini A's that are in the new bunker to the field. You know, like the old mini X's. You know, you used to play those really well because you're tall and you can bend your body in different ways. And you'd have to get into that. Yeah, you get in there. And those A's, the mini A's are, you know, you think you're safe, but you know, the angles of the bunker and somebody in the back corner, they drop them in on you. And like I got clocked a few times the other day, and I thought I was safe, and I really wasn't. Yeah, and it's definitely an interesting point you bring up too. That anytime you throw, okay, like I mean, how many years you've been playing Aztec? How many years you've been playing Stand Up Temple, Baby Doritos? Right. But this is a new bunker form. You know, it's not super foreign, but at the same time, it's like that muscle memory, that body knowledge of when I'm exposed, when I'm not. That's actually a really good point that is going to play into it. Absolutely, for sure. I mean, yeah, you know, and because you've probably played every spot in the field at one time or another in your career, and like you said, we've been playing these little spots forever. and you throw something else in the mix, and like you said, muscle memory, and you don't realize it. You know, and because the slight angle difference on the little A's as opposed to the Aztecs, you know, that makes a little bit of difference in how you hold your marker and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's very true, and it's also funny now that we're talking about it, because that's something you almost take for granted. Once you've been playing for so many years, I mean, body knowledge and an awareness of what's sticking out, what's not, that's definitely something that kind of comes as you get experienced. And we have been seeing guys get shot out of that bunker, so that's definitely playing a factor here. It is good to see, at least, you know, if you're a Dynasty fan out there, it's good to see them come back after getting stomped out that first 2 points and then put a point on the board, because the Russians is definitely a team you do not want to let them to start running away on the point spread. They're not very merciful when it comes to that sort of thing.
Not.
So our score 2-1, just under 30 seconds left to go before the start of this next point. Penalties haven't really come into play that much so far, which sometimes in the beginning of the season they can. You know, the refs out here, a lot of experienced referees for the PSP, and they've been doing this for many years. And they are a very they're on top of it when it comes to trying to make sure that the players aren't getting away with anything.
Absolutely, they don't mess around. You mess up, and you're pretty much going to sit in the box and watch the rest of the game.
And Dynasty continuing to have 5 guns up off their break. Not shooting anybody, though. Oh, yeah, and they've lost 2 off the break. So that's that double-edged sword, Chris. And, I mean, you're a guy that runs the guns with the best of them. So that's the thing, you know. When you do that, you're kind of risking yourself a little bit because you are exposing yourself a little bit higher profile.
Absolutely. And one thing that the Russians are really good at that I'm not too good at is they get out there, they shoot their guy in the break, go into the corner, whatnot. I get all crazy, start looking around everywhere. The Russians are very disciplined. They sit there. Now, Justin Rabakov, head-to-head in the snake now. This is going to be a good little battle.
Oh, nice job, Justin Rabakov.
Never mind.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a good paddle, too. But, oh, wow, look at that. Blonsky throwing his body away. A little bit too aggressive there, trying to get in. He should have just dove in there and got in tight. And then Justin Rabakov asking for some information from his coach on the sidelines. Coaching is still allowed on the snake side of the field. It is no longer allowed from the pits.
And that actually, I've been over in the pits most of the day, Matty, and I got to tell you, it's going to make a big difference. A lot of sneaky stuff going on over there. I mean, that's good for me, because I mean, I've slowed down in my old age, so I can do my old school 7-man sneaky stuff over there.
Yeah, it used to get real sneaky, man.
Oh, you know, and so it changed the game over there a little bit, because some of these players, you know, whereas before, you know, the pits, I didn't realize how effective it was for some of these players, but it's making a difference over there.
I like that though, man. I really think that that's a good addition to the game. I'm all about people being able to play more of actual paintball. You know, I used to hate when you'd make a move, you'd work really hard to make an aggressive move, and then the other team would throw it away by just he's saying he's coming, you know, and then they'd come out and trade instead of getting the guy clean. Now, crafty players like yourself are going to be able to step it up over there, and I think that's really going to add to the elements of the game.
Absolutely. You know, and like we were talking about Justin Rabakov earlier, you know, you and I have both seen that kid grow up.
Literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like when he was born, we were playing. Not to date us or anything, but
not to make a. Okay, we're old. We're old.
But you know, I love to see the way he's come up in this game. You know, us beating the crap out of him when he was a kid, years and years and years has paid off.
Toughen him up, absolutely.
Tough love,
man.
exactly.
Hey.
And he is a stellar paintball player now.
Yeah, he really has evolved, and to see him really blossom the past couple seasons, and I think that. The toughest part about being good at paintball, as we see Justin Rabakov hanging the flag, is field awareness, and is kind of the higher echelons of taking the variables in of what's going on in front of you, and then you act and make them react to what you're doing. You really kind of were one of the first players that pushed that aggressive front, and to see guys like Justin evolve and really kind of take that to another level is really cool to see, especially seeing him grow up from like a little kid coming out like practicing against us when he was like 8 years old.
And we used to smash that kid, and he would take it.
Yeah, he would really take it. He's a tough kid.
He was a good kid. So, you know, but I mean, we've seen a lot of these kids evolve, like all the Dynasty kids. They're not Dynasty kids anymore. You know, I mean,
they're almost 30.
I know. God, it's
scary.
Jesus. Yeah. Well, you know what? We're still here. So we're live down here at Galveston right now. We're having a good time down here. The weather's, oh, that's awesome, yeah.
Yeah, you just had a birthday, Chris.
I did.
29, right?
29. Actually, I had to bump it up a year because every time.
You're 30 now?
No, I'm 29. I was 28 last year.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I had to switch it up a little bit because 28 just ain't cutting it anymore.
Did you like I left you a Facebook
I did
post.
got your Facebook
Happy
message.
29th, bud.
Yeah, I did get that. And, about 4 or 5 people saw that. So thanks to everybody out there in the paintball world that wished me happy birthday. It's much appreciated and much love from all you guys. And thanks to my friends for keeping my real age a secret. So. Yeah, I know, but everybody knows.
Well, you don't look old yet. That's the thing. Really, legitimately, I'm not just saying that because you're here.
I do appreciate that. It's good skin, good jeans, and a girl that's 10 years younger than I am.
That always helps.
That always helps. You know Candy. Candy's a wonderful girl. Awesome. She keeps me young, makes me old. So it turned out to be a beautiful day. A little cloudy this morning, kind of chilly.
It was a little thought. Well, we're right, literally, if you guys tuning in from home, we're right on the beach, essentially. Just a couple blocks from the beach down here in Galveston Island. It really is a beautiful day for paintball right now. This is the inaugural event of the season for the PSP here 2011. And really looking forward to this year. I think that it's going to be interesting to see how these teams develop. There's been some changes in the offseason, and some of these, we're watching Dynasty play right now, and like we said, Oliver Lang back on Dynasties. It's huge news because Dynasty is they've definitely performed the past couple years. They haven't been that dominant monster that they were, but I think that also lends to the fact that other teams have caught up. There's a lot of good teams these days. The Russians are always phenomenal. The Ironman, of course, Tampa Bay Damage, Impact. There's a lot of really, really good paintball players out there.
Absolutely, and that's something to look forward to for some of these divisional teams too. I was watching some of these divisional teams out here play earlier. It's a packed house down here. There's a lot of good teams here. Some of these players are coming up. Look at CEP, for example. They played Division I. They were a good Division I team, and they came out here and they showed a lot of heart. They played real well. They weren't whiners or crybabies. They weren't making excuses. And it gives all the divisional players like you guys watching at home right now something to look forward to, that there is a spot for you to make it and to come up to this level.
Yeah.
You just got to put the time and effort in. And I think the PSP is making some minor changes to kind of help you guys get to that point. So, if you haven't checked out a PSP or ever played a PSP, you definitely should take a shot at it.
Yeah. At
least come out, and play 5-man or whatever you got to do just to kind of get your feet wet. And I think, see what the difference is, and I think you'll like the difference.
Well, and there are so many divisions now that it really does allow you to ladder yourself up and progress as your game progresses. And that's the thing. Every single one of these guys that you're watching out here play today, they started somewhere. They started at their local fields. They didn't just all of a sudden become pros overnight and just come right onto the scene. And it is cool to see teams like Chattanooga, who had a great game, their first game against Impact, and only lost by a point, going against one of the best teams in the world. That just goes to show you that it is possible.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's going to be an exciting year for paintball. I'm really excited. I like the changes. I really like the no coaching from the pit side change. I think that's great. I think lengthening the field is going to let more guys get to the bunkers. So we're going to allow people to play paintball a little bit more. And it's interesting to see now. They didn't release the fields early or super early. They came out slightly early, but we're watching these guys. Everyone's learning as we're watching it, and you already can see from the games this morning that these guys are really starting to pick up the pace.
Absolutely. I don't see Dynasty sitting back and taking this much longer. I think they're going to get a little more aggressive on their lanes and kind of do some quick bumps real quick now.
Yeah. So the score 3-1 in favor of Boston Red Legion. And let's see on the breakout. 2 guns up in the back center for the Russians as they streak a player up to the center temple, try to shut down that Dorito side, and to get a player out to the back corner. Now 5 alive for Dynasty. All the back bunkers, Oliver Lane making his move. And to the stand-up, Can behind the snake as Dalton makes his way up the Dorito side.
Dalton played those Doritos really, really well earlier today. He got up in there.
Yeah.
They lost to Oliver over here on the snake side. Yosh coming up here picking up the slack.
Oh, and Yosh takes one as he gets into the bunker too. So Dynasty losing Oliver Lang and Yosh Rao. Very quick. Oh, but here comes the Russians. They lose their player out of the stand-up temple. So it's back and forth as Dalton gets into the 50-yard line snake.
Dalton is devastating out there. If he gets in a good spot and he can control the field and he gets some good support, he can definitely help out the Dynasty team right now.
I agree, and that's a name that really a lot. Oh, look at Malloy try to make a huge move.
That's a far run, man.
That's a big bite, man. That's a really big bite.
And in the middle, this field's really, really open. There's a lot of moves I was trying to make at practice in the middle of the field, and there's just too much ground there.
Yeah, and that's normally. that's one of your best. Oh my God, Dynasty loses Alex Frazee out of the back corner. 3 guys dying out of their spots for Dynasty.
Russians lose another player in the middle, so it's 2-on-2 right now.
Wow, there's just bad gunfighting going on back at this point.
Great move by Dalton.
Oh wow, Dalton makes an amazing move.
Great move.
Oh wow, Dalton gets a little 2-pack.
Yep, and in that also, the penalty came out of the box. I guess they had somebody in the box right there for a second. I didn't see that.
It looked like Mike Mesa was in the box for Dynasty.
That was great.
Yeah, nice job by Dalton, man. And then again, like I was just going to say, Dalton is one of those names that you should remember if you're watching at home. He's been earning respect. He's played for a lot of big teams. Played for Vicious last year. He played for Aftermath. Now he's on Dynasty, and it also is interesting that is that Mike Hinman is now coaching Dynasty.
Yep.
And you see some of these Aftermath players migrating on over. Mike Mesa, Dalton, a Mouse. Yep. And those are some of the best players to come out of the Aftermath franchise, which no longer exists, sadly to say. But that's going to help out. These are SoCal kids, and now they're playing on the iconic SoCal team, Team Dynasty.
Yep. And Mike Hinman, is one of those players, or coaches players, because he used to also play in Dynasty back in the day, in case for those of you who didn't know that. He is one of the best people to spot talent and to farm these kids up, like Mouse, Alex Goldman, Mike Mesa, a lot of good players. He's a good eye for talent, and he's seen a lot of these kids come up, and the kids respect him, or they're scared to death of him.
It's probably a little bit of both. But yeah, Mike's intense, man. It's really good to have a guy like Mike around, because especially for a team like Dynasty, because they have so many players that are literally future Hall of Famers that have helped define the sport as it exists today.
Right.
And it's really hard to get a coach that they're going to listen to ultimately, and really just gotta kind of have a guy that's going to be around to call you on your BS, because that's the best way to stay relevant and to continue to evolve and progress, is to have someone that will not let you get away with it.
Nobody. He'll tell Oliver, everybody. He really won't care. And it seems conflicting at times, but it's very it progresses the team in a way that some people don't progress, because people are afraid to say what's on their mind.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, in order to make the toughest materials that human beings can create, it takes a lot of pressure, it takes a lot of force, and it takes a lot of energy. And you could almost say the same thing about a good paintball team. All right, 1 second to go for the start of this next break. Score is 3-2 off of that amazing play of Dalton Vanderbilt, able to keep Dynasty in this match. Oh, they lose him this time, though, as he tries to get out to the corner. Shot in the pack, so 4 Dynasty players left alive, 5 Russians. Cross field, good spread for them.
I look for the Russians to kind of get a little bit, they're going to the snake a little bit quicker this game, because nobody's even looking over here.
Look at this, and there goes again, Rabakov. His head is always up, his eyes are always downfield, and that enables him to see these openings and make those moves. He's got into Snake 2 now. And Alex Frazee took a shot in his head, trying to get into Snake 1.
Russians controlling the field very well right here. Nice, slow, methodical play.
Yeah, the Russians are definitely playing methodical.
Because right at this point right now, it's 3-2. They're kind of more relaxed, it looks like. Making their bumps.
Dynasty needs to get a kill right here. They need to get one of the Russian players out of these 50-yard line bunkers. They have both the 50-yard line Dorito and the 50-yard line Snake.
Yeah, and these again, all 3 backs. It's tough to break that cross right there.
Oh, absolutely.
And where you see Justin Rabakov in the Snake at the 50 there's a cut between the bunkers. You can get one dropped over there. I've seen a few people get dropped over top there this weekend and just kind of get clipped a little bit.
9 minutes and 10 seconds left to play here in this game. Now 2 players for the Russians here in the Snake. They got Bart Blonsky and Justin Rabakov.
Justin's definitely going to make the bump to the next spot, because he'll have a better shot in the back center. As said. Now I'm definitely going to look for Bart to come up behind him a little bit. or Matt come up and is that Matt Blonsky, I believe?
Yeah.
He'll come up behind him, give him a little more support, because where he is right now, he's not really helping him as much. He can come up, he'll come outside a little bit.
Well, that's a tough spot to be in, honestly, because there's really not a lot of places to go from there.
Right.
And you kind of have to let the game develop a little bit. It's not the kind of dynamic breakout spot that a lot of times in the Snake you can have.
Right. Oh,
wow.
That was
very
unbelievable.
He bounced it off the bunker right into his hand.
That was spectacular, actually.
That was a very nice pass of paint. I didn't.
That was awesome. I'm sorry. Just watching that happen in front of me.
I mean, he has a pot, I think, in his pack. Doesn't he? No?
I can't tell from up here.
Yeah, I can't tell from here up here either.
Either way,
no, you're right.
Now.
He's out of paint.
Dynasty losing their back center player. Now it's just both corners for Dynasty. I don't think Justin actually knows that he's not there anymore.
Yeah, I don't think he does either. Which I think his coach is right next to him. So
yeah. Russian's making smooth moves at the middle now.
Just 2 players left for Dynasty. Back corner bunkers.
Oh,
and Blonsky just walks right out in the blind spot and gets shot. That back corner.
That's very uncharacteristic for the Russians to make a mistake like that.
Yeah, and Matt's over the past couple years has been stepping his game up too. He doesn't normally make mental mistakes like that. So 3 Russian players, all at the 50-yard line. Well, actually, Justin Rabakov just past the 50-yard line. 2 Dynasty players left in the back corners. This is going to be a tough cross to break, especially because, again, Justin, he has kind of far to go. He can cut on the inside,
and there is not a lot of places to go, really. I mean, he can go to that mini Dorito by the Snake right there, but I mean, what's he really? He can get stuck there really easy too.
You know what I've noticed though too, watching these games so far today, is that when it gets into this position, a lot of guys have just been getting shot out of their bunkers, which is surprising to me, because I would think that this would be we'd see a little bit more dynamic play happen, where instead it's been guys have been lining up, they get in the decent spots, and you'll have a couple guys left alive, and somebody just dies out of their bunker.
Absolutely.
Rabakov trying to figure out what he's going to do, but now he's lost Blonsky, and he only has probably maybe 100 paintballs left. Blonsky was able to pass him a pot of paint perfectly, actually.
I think that was the best paint pod toss I've ever seen in my life. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, he bounced it off the front bunker, which...
Did he mean to do that?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
If
but
he did, that was awesome.
Let's just say, he meant to do it. Just to give him the benefit of the doubt, because that was too cool. Now Dalton...
there goes Mishka. Mishka makes a move.
Dynasty's corner has a really good shot that nobody's really done yet. Oh, that was getting sloppy, like you talked about. Getting sloppy.
So very long point. Russians able to take that and extend their lead 4-2. 5 minutes and 38 seconds left here to go. So Dynasty's going to have to go in, clean up, reset, figure it out. I mean, their Achilles heel so far in this particular match is the fact they're just losing guys out of their spots.
Yeah, they're gunfighting. I mean, and right there, they got real sloppy at that point. I don't know if they were trying to make something happen. The Russians made a good move into their Dorito side, and I think that they got a little sketchy. And but at the same time, you still got to try to keep the cross.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, I remember anytime I'm in a cross, anyone got shot, I mean, you do want to make sure that you are handling your business, but at the same time, dude, make them come get you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make them come bunk you. That's a really far run.
Yeah, it's both sides.
And so it's better to engage less and make them move more and come through that open space, and then have whoever your other player is on that cross try to pick them up when they make that run. Plus, what happens a lot of times in that situation is penalties.
Right.
You get a guy making that that long jaunt to try to take you down and bunker you. A lot of times, your guy from the side is going to get that shot in and maybe draw that penalty.
Absolutely. And there is that off the, and like you said, it's a super long run, so the chance of him getting clipped as he's going there is pretty good, actually.
Especially on this field. There's some long, big, gigantic, huge gaps in between these bunkers.
And the shots across the field, not just from corner to corner, but across the field, trying to get him come to get you, that's a long shot too. And there's a lot of stuff on this field that's in the way, especially in the Dorito side. There's a lot of pins over there, lots of things in the way. So,
well, let's see if Dynasty can get back in this match. The score 4-2. 5 minutes 38 seconds left on the clock. I'm Matty Marshall. I'm up here with Chris Lasoya. And you are watching Team Dynasty taking on a Boston Red Legion. And this is the first event of the PSP season here in Galveston, Texas. It's a timeout. The Russians. The Russians call that timeout or Dynasty call that timeout?
I can see. I'm pretty sure the Russians did because Dynasty's on the field right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm making an assumption here. I really don't know, but I would assume it was the Russians.
I wonder why. I mean, if I was Dynasty, I'd want to call a timeout.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, kind of regroup a little bit, figure out what's going on.
Yeah, this just in from down. It was Boston. You were right. It was Boston that called that timeout, and that's an interesting call. I mean, maybe they had some gun issues or they wanted to call some play. But normally, in a situation like that, Dynasty's the one that wants to call the timeout. You slow the other team's momentum down, and that gives you an extra 2 minutes to kind of figure out what's going wrong.
Right. And you know, from the Russians' point of view on a timeout, when it's a lot of work breaking across like that. It's a lot of energy. Shoot a lot of paint. You know, so when you come off the field, you're not gonna have any paint left. Like Justin had no paint, Matt had no paint. You know, when he actually got eliminated. You know, so maybe they just want to run the same line again, and they need to take the extra time to pod and paint and get everything they needed done.
Yeah.
You know, well, at least one thing is for sure, that it's not too windy like it was on when they were setting up. You know, the wind out here was pretty bad. It doesn't seem the wind doesn't be expected to pick up anytime soon. Which
no,
is good.
It's a beautiful. This is a perfect day of paintball right here. You know, slight breeze. It's about maybe 73 degrees, right about. It's a really nice day today. Beautiful down in Galveston, Texas. And I'm interested to see what Dynasty's going to do on this breakout. You know, they haven't been shooting a lot of guys off the break, and they've the biggest thing they're doing wrong right now is they're just losing guys out of their spots. Which, when you look at the guys on the roster, that's just not something you don't normally see. Yoshroud dying out of a bunker, but
right.
Hey, it's going to happen. You know, it's just happened to a couple of them. You know, like one of those last points, you had Oliver Lang and Yosh getting shot out of the same bunker.
Well, I look for him to go up the middle a little harder from now. I mean, like the towers or. You know, maybe the X have moved maybe a little bit. You know, if they got to do something different.
Well, and they lose Dalton trying to get out to the back corner on the Dorito side of the field. Oh, and they also lose, looks like Mike Mesa. So just 3 Dynasty players left alive. And they have the back bunkers from the back center on over to the Snake side of the field. And here come the Russians into the Snake. They don't have much of a presence on the Dorito side, though.
No, I definitely look for that cake guy on the Dorito side. He'll kick out to the corner and then go up to the Doritos and run, you know, slowly but surely get up there. I mean, they're pretty good about, there he is in the corner. Now, the Russians make that move to the corner, like I said. He'll get up to that Dorito as soon as he possibly can. You know, he has some good support in the middle of the field.
Yeah, good, really good field spread right now for the Russians. Oh, jumping over that lane in the center.
Dynasty's down to 2 players now. Glenn Takamoto in the back center.
And Dynasty smartly, they blow the horn and concede that point, which takes it to 5-2. So, yeah, they have that 3-point spread. However, there's still 4 minutes and 43 seconds left because the Russians are great at grinding that clock.
Absolutely. You know, and watching from the last game, the Ironmen with what was it, Impact?
Yes.
You know, when I walked away, the Ironmen were getting murdered. I came back and it was tied at 4-4. So anything can happen out here. You know, it's just a matter of structuring your game plans a little bit, and kind of slowing it down and thinking about what you need to do.
I think that is one of the cool things though about this particular field layout is that well it's interesting though because the Russians have started to figure out how to shoot at least that Dorito side off the break. And it is a farther shot now. It is a farther shot, but it's just kind of that elevation adjustment that, and again, you know, it's like you have that muscle memory. Yeah, that muscle memory from that snapshot and from that from the shot off the break, and it takes a little bit to kind of relearn that just slight angle difference that you're going to have to do with the 20-foot longer field.
Absolutely. You know, and I definitely I just hope that the Dynasty guys use their head a little bit, don't start to get frustrated, because sometimes in that camp they tend to get a little frustrated sometimes, and it kind of puts them in a worse spot.
They're a team that traditionally used to play really hype, back when they were dominating. They've matured a lot. They yell at each other less.
Yep, that's for sure.
Which is kind of a good thing. It's like you listen to the Russians. The Russians don't really ever get hype in their pit. They're on the complete opposite side of that coin. Actually, they're very calm. They're not really supposed to, and it's just kind of that cliche, like they're not supposed to show emotion, that sort of thing. But Dynasty normally was the complete opposite of that. But they have matured a lot, and I think that. They want to continue to have that passion and spirit and get up for the game, but also try to keep it as positive as possible, especially when you're in a situation like this where you're down 3 points. All right, breakout for the Russians and able to get 5 alive. Dynasty still losing guys off the break. That was Oliver Lang get shot trying to get out over here on the Snake side of the field.
You know, Russians being very aggressive on that Doritos side now. Now from that spot, he can shut down this whole Snake side. Not many people are going to. Dynasty losing another player on the Doritos side. Now they have all 3 backs once again, same position they had last time.
Dalton has been struggling over there ever since that really awesome point that he had earlier on. And Dynasty's going to need to get it up here because if the Russians win this point, they'll be 1 point away from victory. 4 minutes and 6 seconds left on the clock. Russians making smart, methodical moves. Britnikoff into Snake 2, trying to get a cross-field shot.
Dynasty trying to get up in those Doritos to kind of make a little bit happen here.
Rio Shrao in that back center, shooting both ways, trying to drop a shot in on Britnikoff.
Man, we're just watching these Russians come over the top of some of these bunkers, just knowing their shots, knowing their lanes. You know, it's phenomenal.
You know, they're going to be a quick study on that. They're going to be definitely a quick study on getting those lanes down, even though they haven't had a ton of time to practice this field. Britnikoff's starting to really get in his groove over here. Making those smart little bumps, taking the little bites, and now past the 50-yard line.
You can definitely tell they're learning the game a little bit better. Learning the field, I'm sorry. You know, they're starting to make their moves a little quicker, a little snappier. Their lanes in the break are phenomenal right now.
2 minutes and 50 seconds left, and you're watching this really slow point. Now, Dynasty, they've got to get something moving here. I mean, the Russians, all they're going to do is just sit in their bunkers and shoot their guns right now. I mean, they're up 3 points, and with under 3 minutes left to play, that means Dynasty would have to score a point a minute in order to just tie this game. And I mean, you can look at the way they're playing their bunkers right now. The Russians are just
Dynasty losing
real smart. Okay, and then Dynasty conceding that point again, which I don't know if I would have at least tried to let my guys. Yeah.
Yeah, that way, I mean, your plus minus might be a little different, you know, because right now the Russians, by that first loss, I think they were -2. I can't remember the exact score of the game for this morning, but
-1.
Were they -1?
Yeah.
You know, so you know, by winning this game, they have to make up that differential to go on the plus side. And then also surpass it by getting as many points as possible to have a better plus minus when it comes down to the final.
Well, 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go, and it just does not look good for Dynasty right now. Score 6-2. Timeout called by Dynasty. That's definitely smart. I think another thing that's interesting too is that the teams now have to decide where they're going to place their coach. A lot of times the coach is very vocal, and you want to use them to actually physically, audibly coach from this Snake side, from the stands. But at the same time, that means he can't be in the pit trying to figure out plays. So that is going to help teams like the Russians that have a huge coaching staff. You know, it's like, where do you put Mike Himmin? I mean, Mike Himmin can't be in 2 places at once. He's got an incredibly loud voice, and he's very helpful coaching from the sidelines. But he's also, you know, do you want him in there helping the plays? It's just one of those things that it's going to be interesting to see how that side of develops too.
Absolutely. I mean, it's gonna put, like you said, teams in a predicament where they have to decide which way or the other.
All right, so 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. So Chris, you've had quite the paintball career so far.
Yeah, you know, as of you. I think we both had quite the paintball career.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting journey. So this year, for everyone that doesn't know, break it down for it. What's going on with Chris Lasoya?
Well, you know, I mean, I've been with GI since the inception of the company. You know, GI came out 68 caliber paint. You know, we're pushing forward with that, and it's only right that I jump on a GI sports team, and that just happens to be Aftershock this year. So, you know, I've known Aftershock, Rennick, and all those guys. Jeremy Psalm's one of my best friends. I've coached Aftershock all last year because of my knee injury, and you know, I decided to come back and play and see exactly if I can still play at this level. I mean, you know, once you get to a certain age, you know, the body starts falling apart. You know,
the heart never dies, but the body does.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I just want to see if my body keep up with my heart right now, because I have the want to play. I love the game. You know, and I'll make a decision this year that if I'm going to continue to play or not. I am definitely playing with Aftershock this year as of right now for 7-man, which they're going to play as well. So it's going to be a long year for me. You know, but I'm winding down. I want to help these kids as much as I can. You know, whether it be by playing against them or coaching them or whatever I need to do.
How's the knee?
You know, the knee's sore. it never, once you get a knee injury, it really never goes back the same. So I'd say it's about 70%. I'm not the fastest guy in the team, but I'm not the slowest guy either. So, you're going to see me more like Billy winging it, the sneaky stuff. And that's why the no coaching over there will help me out a little bit. That way I don't have to make those fast runs. I can kind of sneak and crawl and dip and dive and dodge and dip and dodge, So.
Well, it is impressive to see you out here still, making it happen, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. I enjoy it just as much as you do, and I'll always be a part of paintball in one way or another, just like yourself. You have way too much knowledge and too much to give the sport.
Yeah, it's just too hard to walk away. It really is.
We made a lot of good friendships over the years, and you can't just let that go away when you've been around for so long.
Yeah. So 30 seconds left to go here. 6-2 is our score. Boston Red Legion on top of Team Dynasty, and it does not look good for Dynasty. They only have 2 minutes and 30 seconds to try to make something happen, score 4 points. At this point, not that it's impossible, but this is not the fastest field layout. This is not a fast field layout. Again, the fields are longer. So let's see what Dynasty has to bring to the table here. 7 seconds to go. Four guns up, off the break for Dynasty, breaking out. Dalton, that back corner, Gino side this time. He dives out there, makes it in clean. This end. Alex Goldman up to the 50-yard line, or Snake 2. Russians losing J-Rab off the break. And Russians losing another player off over on the Dorito side of the field, in the back corner. So just 3 Russians left alive in the back bunkers. Dominant field position for Dynasty. Dalton barely makes it into the Dorito, but he comes up clean. And here comes Alex Goldman. So they do have good field position, but they need to hurry up. They do not have a lot of time to work with. Oh, back center gets taken out for Boston.
Definitely look for Alex. He'll make a nice move here. I'm sure that the Russians will probably lose this point. And there's that bunker with the awkward positioning, like we talked about.
Yeah, and now he's in there just getting ready to wear it. Oh, Oliver Lang puts the exclamation point on that last player.
I think at this point, it is a possibility. It'd be really hard for them to come back. I think at this point what they're trying to do is kind of even up their minus plus. Because they definitely got a high plus score right now from the last game.
Yeah. Dynasty shut out Chattanooga.
Yep.
I mean, it was a 7-0 game, so as far as plus minus is concerned, they're sitting real pretty.
Yep.
Now, they're looking like they're going to lose this match. I mean, I would honestly say it's pretty much over.
Yep.
Minute and 20 seconds left. It's impossible to score 3 points and tie it up. But, like you said, that plus minus is so key when it comes to the overall picture of the tournament.
And at this point, since they do have 1 win in their pockets, they're trying to minimize their losses as far as points go. I think the Russians right there tried to make a long run in the break by sending J-Rab all the way to the mini Dorito outside the Snake. Just trying new things right now. I think they just wanted to take a shot at it, see if he can make it. But I don't see them trying anything crazy again.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to try something crazy. If I were the Russians, though, might want to mix it up, try something, because if you're gonna roll the dice and see if something works, you might as well do it now when you know you got the win.
Absolutely.
You got the win for sure. Now, that being said, again, their plus minus is something that they need to keep in mind too. So it is kind of weighing the advantages of having that the more or having a higher point spread. However, if they want to try a play and see if it works, now's the time to do it.
Absolutely. On the field for Dynasty, we have the standard Ryan, Oliver, Alex. It looks like Mouse is out there and Dalton. I look for Dalton to try and get up in those drills real quick because that's what he's good at. But the Russians have really been shutting that down since he got out there and did that run through that smoked the Russians.
Yeah, and the Russians are playing solid ball. They are definitely shooting players off the break. I think that's been one of the hard things for Dynasty to deal with. However, Dynasty is losing a lot of guys out of their bunkers, and that's just more of a mental mistake on their part.
Yep.
And here they go. Aggressive move by Dynasty as they send Oliver Lang up to the center of the field. Look at Oliver just wheeling and dealing out here. And here comes Oliver Lang on the run through. Oh, did you take him out? Yeah, he trades out. So very creative play by Oliver Lang, trying to make something happen here. Short on time.
Everybody's dying.
Yeah, everyone's dying. They lose Alex Frazier. They lose their Dorito player. Nope. Still have their Ryan Greenspan on the Dorito side, but he gets shot at as well. Trying to make something happen. Gunfighting, wilding out in his bunker. Under a minute left to go here, and the Russians are definitely going to seal the deal.
Yep.
And
that's something like that when it happens so fast. You almost lose track of people. And on this field, it's hard to see some spots.
Yeah,
so.
It is hard to see some spots on this field, but no Dynasty players left to go or left to play, and it's just going to be a matter of time here before the Russians scan the field. Pentelev's going to go run and grab that flag, or jog and grab that flag.
And going to seal the deal right here. I mean, the Russians played a good game. They, in the beginning, you definitely could tell they're changing things up a little bit. They're learning their lanes a little bit better. And like I said, as the tournament goes on, they're progressively going to get better.
Yeah.
There's only 3 seconds left in the.
Apparently they didn't want that other point.
I guess I really don't understand that.
That was a mental mistake on the Russians' part, because all they had to do was hang that flag and they would have saved themselves or got themselves another point on the plus minus, but they were so lackadaisical that they didn't. So though they played a great game, just a little minor tweak there at the end.
Very uncharacteristic of the Russians I looked up and was like, are they
really just going to let the time run out without scoring that extra point?
10 feet from the flag station.
And who knows? Maybe that'll come back to bite them in the end. That would be crazy.
That would be horrible.
Oh, if I was the coaches, hey, they're going to get earful in their,
I'm sure they're going to say something.
4-hour-long meeting they're going to have tonight.
Oh, I'm sure. They're going to say something for sure.
All right, so that is going to do it. Boston Red Legion takes down San Diego Dynasty. Great game as Boston comes back, gets a win on the board after their loss earlier on against the Ironmen. And Dynasty, after 7-0ing, the rookies to the Pro Division, Chattanooga, end up losing to Boston. I'm Matty Marshall. Got Chris Lasoy up here. Lots more paintball coming at you here from Galveston here in Texas. We'll see you in just a few.